only 3 weeks of work, but we made $150,000.
Huh? Wait. Okay, tell me the first 5 years worth of revenue for the Christmas lighting business. So year 1, 150. What was year 2?
Close to 300.
Year 3?
500.
Year 4 and 5?
This is where my memory starts going. 750, 950. We really were just motivated by believing that our lives were worth more value than any job was willing to pay us, and wanted to make more money faster. Truly.
Did you do any email stuff? SEO?
Nope.
Oh my gosh. It's just like, I can't not follow the rabbit down this hole. Tell me your background.
Graduated from college in 2003. So went backpacking overseas for about a year and lived check to check. Came back, started a sales job selling toothpaste.
Where was this?
This was in the Bay Area.
Okay.
And it was demoralizing. Great company. But when you have a trunk full of toothpaste samples to give out to people and you're driving from San Francisco down to Santa Cruz to Monterey to Fresno and back every single week, it was brutal. But I learned sales. So that's what I got out of that job. And sales is really just about making connections and getting to know people. And from there, once I realized that I could not make enough money in this full-time job to do anything because I was struggling to save money. It took me 6 months to save $1,000. So
what?
Yeah, because I was on, it was a base salary of near 30,000, and then my bonuses got me to about 50,000. But when you live in the Bay Area and you take out your health insurance and you take out your utilities and your phone bill and then you pay taxes, it really whittles down very quickly when rent is so high. So I took 6 months to save $1,000, was very happy and celebrated. And then I quickly switched and thought, that's ridiculous. Like, how am I ever going to get ahead? And started a greeting card business on the side using my photographs because I had minored in photography. So that I ran for a couple years, really only got to the point where it was making about $15,000 in extra take-home profit a year. And I used that money to buy a property in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. So that property in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, it was $230,000, so $46,000 down. I sold it the next year for it was either a $126,000 or $156,000 profit. So this was 2005, and that was a good enough down payment for the Bay Area. So I still had the toothpaste job. I still was doing the greeting cards, and I was also part-time interning between a newspaper and a photographer who was based in Marin County up in San Rafael, earning extra side gig money. So
dude,
all
you were
of
hustling.
That, I was hustling.
You were
all
hustling.
Of that, I was like just and I was so good because I went from backpacking where you're living check to check and on very little money. Like I was living off of bread, peanut butter, and bananas to coming to the Bay Area. It was like a game to me. Like, how can I live the most fun life that costs the least amount so that I can save so I can actually put this money to work?
When we were first married, my wife and I went to Europe because we were like, well, if we have kids, it's going to be a long time till we can actually go to Europe. And we weren't there that long. We were there 2 weeks. But every hotel that we stayed at, we just like shoved our bags full of bananas and apples and the baguettes and like, that's all we ate.
Free breakfast?
Yes. It was, well, not only free breakfast, it was like free breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I'm very familiar with the peanut butter, bread, banana diet because I lived that diet.
When you have to, when you need to, you do it. And it was fun.
Isn't it interesting too? Like you get to a different stage in life and then those periods of time that just felt so hard and they felt like, oh man, I wish I was in name whatever place that you think is better than where you are right now. And then you get to that place. Oh, cool. I have a home or I have a second home or I have a business, whatever. And then you look back and you're like, man, I'm nostalgic for that time. It was so simple. It was so fun. Where did the hustler come from? Is that instilled from the family? Is it just you?
I'm the youngest of 4. And I think that I was born fairly happy. Like I just was happy-go-lucky. My mom said that when I was very young, she would say, what do you want to be? And I was like, I don't really care what it is that I do as long as I'm happy and I'm having fun. Even now to this day, when a decision comes up like, hey, mom, what do you think about this business? Or what do you think about this potential investment? She's like, Look, you always said that you were motivated by creating a very fun life, and you've done that. So just keep on going with that direction.
I feel like the scene in Step Brothers when they go from hating each other to realizing did we just become best friends? Yep. That's me. I was just born with like a happy demeanor. I just kind of always had a positive disposition. I like to have fun. I like to have relationships with people. So anyways, I resonate. I resonate with that.
Yeah. But the hustler part, I think the hustle part came from my parents because they were immigrants from the Philippines and they came over with $200 each. And by the time I was in middle school, they had about a dozen houses and
Wow.
they had investments and they took us traveling around the world and they sent us to private school. So their life and their story was constantly told to me throughout my own life. And it really instilled this belief that you can make anything happen that you really, truly believe you can.
My dad's an immigrant. He's technically from Brazil, but he's Ukrainian. And I grew up really poor. And we grew up with these really crappy cars, BMWs, Mercedes-Benz, but they were always like salvage title, 20 years old. So it's like 1997, I'm driving around in a 1974 BMW 4 Series that is like got 3 different color doors and a different color hood. And right. So I was always like, Dad, what are we doing here? And it wasn't until I got older and I lived in Europe and realized like having 1 car, you're doing well. Having 2 cars, you're like wealthy. It like made my dad feel good. Like, oh, I have multiple cars, Nikolai. I am very, very successful man. You're welcome. So after that first 150 grand that you made from Wyoming, Montana, wherever it was, what did you do? Were you still doing toothpaste at this time?
No, I wasn't.
What were you doing?
We had started a Christmas light hanging business.
Dude, I love you so much. Oh my gosh. All right. Did you still have the greeting card company?
No, I just decided it was too much effort. I have a whole cabinet over there that is full of greeting cards for life.
Good for you. But the Christmas lighting business, that's very seasonal. Why would you pick a seasonal business?
That was kind of why we chose it, because we both love to travel so much. So it was very motivating, the concept that you could make a year-long salary living in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, it's interesting. So you're like optimizing for lifestyle, where it's like you're like having these seasons of like, okay, I'll work really hard, but I know I'm going to sock away money here because I want freedom at these other times. I think that's a really interesting way to kind of architect it. How long did you do the Christmas lighting business for?
We did that business for 13 years.
Holy crap.
Yeah, we sold it in 2020.
You started from scratch?
Yeah. It was such a gem. Really. Honestly, I would start that business again if I were that age because it grew so rapidly. We also chose a very high net worth area in where we wanted to operate. And there is something to that. The houses are all right next to each other, so your efficiency is maximized because if
they're
one
pretty
neighbor
price insensitive.
Insensitive, yes.
Yeah.
And as long as you establish that relationship and there's trust and you do a good job, then it just repeats every year. So it's not like painting. You paint your house, you're probably not going to get your house painted for another 10 years. With Christmas, it comes around every year.
So video's cool, but I have what scientists call a face for radio. And so what's even cooler is long form audio via my podcast and my newsletter, Nikonomicspod.com. Go there for free. Subscribe to my newsletter. It's 1 email per week. It's super tactical. And then go to my audio podcast. I do 3 to 5 episodes a week, depending on how curious I am. And it's stuff like this. It's all free. No sleazy sales pitches. Nikonomicspod.com. Would you consider it a reoccurring business or a recurring business, right? Like a recurring business model would just be you're on a payment plan and every single month, right? That's SaaS, right? But reoccurring obviously is, we call you when we need you. But
there were some people who would automatically book the following season for the exact same day or timing, and they wanted to just secure that. What we ended up doing was, because our season at the beginning was only 3 weeks of work, but we made about $150,000 in those 3 weeks. So for us,
wait,
that first season. Yeah.
Generated or or like net income made?
Net income was closer to 100. But for us, for me, going from a selling toothpaste job at $50,000 a year to making my half of that was around, 50. So making that in 3 weeks, I just thought this We've got this. So we started pouring everything that we could into growing it, turning it from a 3-week business into a 6-week, into eventually it was a 6-month business with 6 trucks, 6 teams. So
6-month business?
it turned into a 6-month business. Yeah.
Why?
Because we picked up really big contracts with amusement parks. We had a job that was out of state, which was, I can't tell you which location it was because there was an NDA on it. But these are like amusement park size jobs, and they can take a month to install with our entire 6-truck team. So
oh my goodness,
these companies often set their budgets in January, and they know they have all these seasons to get through. So there's Halloween. After Halloween, it pretty much switches to Christmas if you're in that business.
Oh yeah.
So we actually needed to put the lights up before Halloween and just keep them off. So we started installing in July. When the pumpkins start growing, that to us was our signal that Christmas is here.
I'd like prepare for these interviews and I'm like excited to talk about certain things. I have my notes down and then somebody says something and it's just like skirt.
Yeah.
You know, I can't not follow the rabbit down this hole. I want to start with before the year that you launched it, before you actually launched it. You guys have some money. Obviously, you've got your place in San Francisco. How did you come across Christmas lighting? Like, why was that the thing?
And this all kind of like happened really overlapping. So we sold that condo in 2007, but we started this business in 2006. But I had been selling toothpaste, right? And one of my coworkers was just joking with me like, man, we've got it so bad in this job. Our backs hurt. We have to sell toothpaste. And meanwhile, my cousin's down in San Diego. He's making 6 figures and all he does is put up Christmas lights for a few weeks a year. And I was like, that's interesting. And then Mark, my husband, was at Whole Foods handing out free toothpaste because I'd convinced him that he needed to like make a little extra cash. And he was right next to another woman who was handing out samples and they were chatting. And she said, my boyfriend's got it so much better than this. He makes like 6 figures a year and all he does is put up Christmas lights. So this was all like within 2 weeks that this happened. And I don't know, is that like the universe giving us a sign?
Yeah.
Or is that a door that's just like come this way? We talked about it that night and we couldn't stop going, what are the chances? Really, like this stuff doesn't happen. Christmas lights, like twice in 2 weeks. What? And that's why we started.
So I think what's really interesting is I think that there are 2 types of people who get into entrepreneurship. I think there's type A, which is you, that like you couldn't do anything other than just hustle. Like it was always going to be something that you did, which is awesome. And then there's people who are more of the planners who are like, okay, I'm going to be strategic. I'm going to buy a business. It's going to be an existing business. Does it have a moat or is it sticky? What are the customer contracts like, right? Like they're more of the thinkers. That's probably a little bit more for me just because it makes me feel safer. For you, like your type, you're opportunists where you're like, oh, there's something there. Let's try it. Why not? Why the heck not? Had you and Mark talked about you wanted to do something entrepreneurial together? Or was this like, I never thought about us actually doing a business. I've got this side gig over here. Maybe we should try it. Which one was it?
We really were just motivated by believing that our lives were worth more value than any job was willing to pay us and wanted to make more money faster.
So you had thought about doing entrepreneurship. Like it wasn't the first time you had ever like...
But not because I wanted to be an entrepreneur or run a business. I just wanted more control over my time and money. And that was a way that I could do it. I'm not a career corporate ladder climber. I don't like being in office buildings. I like my freedom. I like sunshine. So flexibility, we kind of fell into it, I would say, more than I had it ever in my head that that's what I was going to do. It was a belief, though, that we could. A belief that we could make more money and create more time by chasing these opportunities.
So a lot of people will talk about entrepreneurship and they'll say, hey, if you're going to do something, you got to be passionate about it. If you're going to get into something, you got to like have a passion for it because entrepreneurship is hard and you're going to run these businesses, yada, yada, yada. Did you have a passion for tree light or for not tree lighting, but Christmas lighting?
No, not at all.
Do you ascribe to that? Like, hey, you got to have a passion for it? Like, what do you think of that?
I mean, I'm 43 now. So now I do have like a little bit more experience and knowledge. And I again, if I were to start a business today, it would really need to be framed around what the goal was of the business. I, again, did not spend that much time thinking about this back then. It was really about money and time. But now I have a different perspective. So I don't necessarily think that you need to have a passion for it. I believe that is one avenue, and it is a beautiful one if you can go that route and you get real purpose from what you're doing. But I also don't think it has to be that way. Like, my mind generally thinks about how can I make money and do it in the shortest amount of time possible. Like, I'm more of that type of an entrepreneur. So, but when I interview people, I am absorbing what they're saying, and I'm really impressed, and just I admire how other people have been more conscious about why they've started businesses, whether it's for a legacy, to give back to the world in some way, because they do have a passion in some related industry. But this is me learning alongside my listeners.
All right, now's the part of the show where I feel the most uncomfortable, but my therapist says I need to face my fears. So here we are. I've started a newsletter, and I want you to subscribe. And what you're going to get every single week are the aggregated conversations from that week that I have on this podcast with an overview of what their business actually looks like. I'm also going to throw in a review of 1 or 2 businesses that are listed for sale. I'll give you my opinion on whether or not the EBITDA multiple is good, or there's customer concentration, or there's red flags or green flags. And then lastly, I'm going to give you one piece of actionable advice every single week on how to buy your first business. So click the link below, subscribe to my newsletter, and let's get back into the show.
But this is me learning alongside my listeners.
I land a little bit in the middle. I just think you need to have a clear why. Why are you doing it? Do you want to be rich? That's fine. Do you want to have control of your time and freedom? That's fine. Do you love healthcare and you're like, I just want to have a really good healthcare company that provides really good service? Like, that's fine too. You just have to know your why.
Yeah.
And then architect your opportunity towards that why. And that's what you've done, right?
That's what I agree with you.
In your
100%.
way, you've been intentional. It may not be in the same way that other people have done it, but you've been very intentional. Okay. So year 1, you do $150,000. When did you guys talk about the idea, and when did you launch?
We talked about the idea. So those occurrences where they felt very like serendipitous, like a bit of synchronicity, happened in July, and we started the business in August.
You're the best. Oh my gosh, this is so cool.
We did not know what we were doing.
Okay. Isn't that usually what happens?
Yeah.
I feel like you have to have a certain amount of naivete, because if you knew everything you knew now, you're like, oh man, I would not have done it that way. But you kind of need that naivete to like get you to do the things. What did you think was going to happen? All right. So you launch in August. Did you think like, oh, this could be a cool side hustle? Or like, what was your goal for that first year?
Our goal was as much as we possibly can, because Christmas is not coming around until next year. So every time a day passed, if we didn't have anything booked, it was like, well, there goes November 15th, because we're not getting November 15th back until next year. So it was really this chase. Wow. If a person signed up they wanted the service, and I saw that we had a spot open the next day, I did a little bit of like sales hacking, where I was just like, oh, we're going to be just down the road tomorrow, and we had a cancellation. We could go ahead and get your lights up. And in fact, this is in our early installation window, so you would get a 10% discount off of labor. And they would be like, oh, great, I'll take it. And I'm like, yes, job secured for that day. I just increased that day from being, like a $1,500 day to a $3,000 day, because I filled this time slot.
Yeah. Did it cost anything to get started? When you launched in August, like what were you guys thinking?
It took about $20,000 all in.
What was the $20,000 spent on?
We paid for a course to get a shortcut on education on how to do the electrical part, custom cutting things, custom fitting, learning what all the lights and supplies were, because we had such a quick turnaround with when we wanted to start marketing. And
because you were going to be doing the installations too. Yeah,
I did. I didn't do them all the time, but I was out there. I was out there on trees and ladders. And
if you did 150 grand and then 100 of that was net profit, like you were probably doing a lot of the labor yourselves.
Yeah.
All right. So you took a course. Did you have to buy any equipment?
Yeah, we bought ladders. We bought base supplies that you need for every job.
Did you think about any insurance? Were you like, oh, we probably need to have insurance because
I think we did get insurance.
Oh, you did? Okay.
We did. Yeah.
That's shocking.
We maybe didn't get the amount of insurance that we needed, and we definitely did not get workers' compensation because we didn't even know about it. So we got a box truck, and some spray cans, and we spray painted the name of our business with some home printed stencils. Like I like cut out the stencils and we taped them up in Park Presidio and just like sprayed our number and our name on there. And when we weren't getting jobs, we would park that box truck in the premium neighborhoods where we wanted to work. And it was like a billboard. It was like a moving billboard, but free. And it worked.
You never got called? Nobody was like, hey, tow this car. It's unsightly.
No, because we would move it within 72 hours. Okay. And it was tidy. Like I could send you a picture of it. And it was It was tidy enough.
I'm not saying it wasn't tidy. I just know how those neighborhoods get sometimes when they're like, oh, unsightly. This isn't a Mercedes. Ugh.
Like major intersections that we knew a lot of people drove up and over, we would try to park it right near that stop sign so that you literally like couldn't miss it.
Okay, so tell me the rest of the customer acquisition channels. All right, so you had the van. You were like, we're doing this. It's decorated. We're getting calls here. How else did you acquire customers that first year? Hey, I don't know if you remember this, but when we started this podcast, we entered into a social contract. I would spend time, energy, and money producing this podcast, interviewing these individuals, and giving you insights into how to build, buy, start, grow your business. And you would like, subscribe, and leave me 5-star review. Now, out of that, we both get to talk to really cool people and hear really cool insights. We both get a ton of value. But I just want to help you keep your word. So would you do me a favor? Will you go leave a 5-star review for me on Apple or Spotify? It would really help. And if you want, even share this with a friend.
We printed off ads on our home printer, like 2 to a page with a little elf tangled up in lights. And it was like, get your lights professionally installed and you get a discount if you do it before a certain date. And Mark and I just walked around the neighborhoods and just put these on doors. I get them sometimes at my own house for tree trimmers and things like that. And it brings back all these nostalgic memories that I'm just like, that actually still works.
We have a tree trimming business that I have where that's one of the channels that we acquire customers through is door to door.
You have a tree trimming business?
Yeah, it's not big. Long story short is we launched a tree trimming business as a project to see if it would work, and it worked. It's not massive. It's like a $500,000 a year business, but it's been fun. Like we've learned a lot of things about home services in particular, like Jobbers, the CRM that they use, how do we acquire customers, how do we use, anyways, a million things. It's been a really good learning experience, but it's not a massive business.
But it could be.
Oh yeah, totally could be. But I've got ADHD, so of course it's not massive because nobody's focusing on it. Anyways, okay, so you had flyers, you parked the car. What else did you do? Did you do any email stuff? SEO?
Nope.
Oh my gosh.
Nothing.
When you were doing this, because I can tell you're a hustler and you're a tracker as well. Like you want to see what works. Which of the 2 channels was the most effective?
What was the box truck? But also those flyers did work for helping us get the initial prime sort of houses in the neighborhood. So it was a combination. But once we had the job and our team was there parked for 4 hours to get the job done, the neighbors would come out and see the truck and they would be like, oh, Sally is getting lights. Genius. So, let me call this company too. We just really focused on customer service, communication, quality end result. If anybody had a complaint, we really listened to them.
Well, and those neighborhoods are so nice. It's keeping up with the Joneses-esque as well. It's
There's a little bit.
What? Martha's put up her Christmas lights already. We need to get decorations going.
I feel like you should do voiceover.
I do. Here's my Donald Trump. You ready? Welcome to the Trump administration. We've got the finest people. It's going to be amazing. Or the best one I do is for my kids where, gosh, Royce, it's time for bed.
Oh my God.
That's my goofy voice. I don't know what it is. I've always just loved mimicking people. My sister says that I used to walk around the house and just like repeating words over and over and over. Anyways, that's not the point. Here's my question for you. Were you sophisticated enough at the time to have different phone numbers for the flyer and the van?
No.
Okay. So you didn't necessarily know who was calling you from which source.
No. And honestly, that was probably a way that you could say it was a failure. Maybe we should have tracked that data a bit more, but it didn't really matter to us. All that mattered was that our customers were repeatedly booking. So we were aiming for an 85% retention rate. And as long as we were getting an 85% retention rate, that to us was a signal that we're priced right and we're doing a good job.
What's crazy to me is that you launched this business in August. It's a Christmas business. And so when are you done hanging lights? And you take them down as well?
Yeah. That was all part of the package.
Okay,
nope,
okay.
All
So
included. Yeah.
Okay. So, but you probably had all of your money by like the first week of December?
I mean, you'd like to think so, but no, like people sometimes wouldn't pay on time. We would sometimes, the last date I believe we ever installed lights and over those 13 years was around December 17th.
Wow, that's really late.
It was really late.
Okay. The point I'm making though is that like the time between launch in August and like your business being done is like 4 months.
Well, yeah. So we launched in August.
That year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had no idea necessarily what to expect. So you go from, let's do this thing. We launch in August. And then by December, let's just say December 15th, you're sitting there and you're like, holy crap, Mark, we have $150,000.
We literally had that conversation. Like it was Thanksgiving and we had tallied up how much the season was going to make. And we were beyond ourselves. Like we're that overwhelming feeling inside where you're just like, like we just, you just really wanted to like shout it from the rooftops, like, holy crap. Like this is more, it was so much money to us at the time. Remember, it took me 6 months to save $1,000. So to make that in a lump sum was incredible. And then when the season wrapped up, so even though it may take longer to put the lights up, the lights were down by January 6th. And we went overseas for 4 months and we rented out our apartment. And so we hardly had any expenses because we were in Southeast Asia and we went to Nepal and just had a lot of time to reflect.
Because how old were you at this time? You were what, 26, 27?
Around that, yeah. 2000 and yeah.
Do you have kids? No
we
kids?
Do now.
Kids?
We do now.
Okay, you have kids now. But yeah, no, my wife and I, we didn't have kids for I think the first 6 years we were married. I'd have to go back and like actually do the math. Yeah, we waited a little while and $100,000 with no kids.
I know.
I mean, it's like you're a king or queen.
It opened up again, just more opportunity. But we really delayed gratification. So we looked at that money as opportunity, not as money to spend.
You rolled it again. I made the joke earlier, the Burr method, which is this like really real estate centric method where people buy a home, they rehab it, then they refinance it, right? So it's like, I bought it at 50, I put 20 into it and I rehabbed it. I'm going to go refinance it because now it's worth 120.
And take the
and
cash
so they go
out.
And pull out the cash out refi and they pull whatever, 70% of that loan to value. And then they repeat. That's the Burr method. Buy, rehab, refinance, repeat. You were doing that, but it wasn't the Burr method because it wasn't just real estate. It was like, okay, it just rolls to the next thing.
Yeah.
We put the next amount on black. We just keep doubling down on these things.
Yeah. Stocks or saving for another down payment. Once we started having kids, we started saving that money for another down payment because we wanted to get out of the city.
Tell me the first, if you remember, the first 5 years worth of revenue for the Christmas lighting business. So year one, 150. What was year two?
Probably close to 300.
Okay. Year three?
Probably around 500.
Okay. Year 4 and 5?
This is where my memory starts going. 750, 950.
That's crazy. All right. So I'm just doing the math with like 500. So 500, if you had 85% customer retention, then you're looking at, what is that? 425. So
we really focused on keeping our customers.
Was the business always that profitable or did it like finally come to equilibrium? Like how big did it eventually get?
I can't talk about that. But the profit margin was interesting because when we sold the business still wanted to grow. It never stopped growing, even in the recession. And I think part of the reason of that is because it's a luxury service. So you're again working with high net worth individuals.
Yeah.
Their disposable income doesn't really get that impacted when these downturns happen.
Yeah, and if you had gone to maybe some other neighborhoods, that's probably a disposable good. That they're like, hey, it's a recession, we're cutting this out. But for the wealthy,
and the wealthy, they don't want to appear to their neighbors like they're having a bad year.
Like they don't have money.
Yeah. So there was a little bit of that psychology, but not a ton. And the profit margin, as we grew, the profit margin did decrease a little bit as we started hiring more and having to get more trucks and had to get workers' compensation, all the things, right? And when we sold it, though, we still had a very good 50% net profit.
gosh. Okay. Why did you sell? I mean, you're sitting here, it's a business that's like printing money.
We
50% profit margin.
I know. It was such a good business. We sold because we saw COVID was coming, and we thought if COVID happens, a lot of our commercial business won't be able to put lights up because they're places where people gather. So if that happens, we're going to take a hit on the valuation. So we committed to, it'll be another 5 years minimum that we could exit this if we don't sell now. And we had been so diligent about setting aside a lot of the net profit and investing and creating passive income channels, and then got the valuation for the business and thought, if you add that to the pie, then we had all of these strategies. I mean, I don't know if you like spreadsheets or not, but I love spreadsheets. Oh my God, I geek out on this spreadsheet that I made, because to me, I was like, oh, that is just beauty. Look at that. Like if you look at it, like inflation plus a 5% return as like a base, I was looking at the numbers and I just was like, oh, if we live off of this, which has been our annual expense for so many years, like I know what we cost to live, then if we don't touch that money for about 7 years, it'll double. And then if we don't touch it again for another 7 years, it'll just double. And it started getting to this point where it's like, so what that means is that within, I can't remember what the exact number of years was that I looked at it, but I was like, as long as we maintain that plan, then it was like 5 to 7 years or something like that, we will be able to passively make what we were making from the business anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why it made sense.
And you de-risk yourself. And
yeah,
I call it spreadsheet porn. For me, it's terrible. I get sucked in. It's honestly, it's one of my biggest weaknesses. It's something I'm working on this year. Before the call, I talked to you about, like, I like to track the metrics, right? I'm like, oh, where am I at? And there's no point to it. Like I spend so much time worrying about, okay, what changed? And is there an inflection point? But whatever. Have you ever seen the midwit meme where it's a bell curve? And so on the one side of the bell curve is a caveman who's like, all we have to do is provide good service to people. And then the middle is like a tech guy. And it's like, actually, if we have the systems correct, we'll automate everything and we can get 1% better every single year, right? It's like the middle. And then there's like the other end of the bell curve, which is the Jedi. And it's like, all we have to do is provide good service to people, right? So you like learn over time. You're like, oh, I just have to provide good service. I just have to provide a good product, et cetera. But anyways, I get obsessed with the spreadsheets. And so it's a focus for me this year to like stop worrying about the data and things. So I'm there with you. But the
spreadsheets are so fun.
I know. That's the problem. Because you get in there and you're like, if I could just get 1% of 1%, technically that's a $10 million market. And then, you know what I mean? Like you just, on the spreadsheet, it works. I modeled it out. It's all going to work.
And when your modeling actually happens, it's like the best reinforcement.
So that's what I was going to ask.
Right?
Did it happen for you?
Yeah.
It did.
Yes.
You're 5 years post now. So are you making passively what you were making in the business?
Yes.
I got to go. I have to go make a call. This is ridiculous. No, that's awesome. That is awesome. That is really, really incredible.
It is incredible, but I do feel like we looked to this future. We saw it. It's just kind of like how years ago, I'd say like 10 years ago, I started saying to myself and also my husband or whoever, like, when we own a house in New Zealand, not if, when, and so that will happen. It's always been that way. So I know that these things will happen because you also kind of like see the vision for the future, and you do some of that spreadsheet modeling. Like it does help you sort of, it's
totally. I mean, people talk about it in the woo-woo way of like manifesting, putting it out to the universe.
Right.
But the thing is, it is true, right? Like if where your mind is where your future ends up being. So like what I'm focused on, what my goals are, you're much more likely to hit them if you're actually articulating them and putting that out there into the world. If you're constantly thinking like, I'm never going to be as smart, or I'm never going to be as successful, or this would never work, it's probably not going to work.
Totally agree.
Because your mind is already kind of formatted things. Do you regret selling?
I don't regret selling because the business was at a point where it also wanted to continue growing. And I did not at that time have the skill set to double it. So I lacked experience
good for
and
you.
didn't realize I could have just maybe tapped the insights of another mentor or entrepreneur who had done that before. I was getting stressed out by the size of the team, which just kind of feels like the size of a family. Like you end up caring too much about the social dynamics, or I did at least. And I don't regret it for that reason. I think we miss elements of it, but no.
How big was the team?
20 people.
20 people. Yeah. So I sold a business almost 2 years ago. It was my home health and hospice that I grew from scratch. And I regret selling that. I was like, that thing was my baby.
Why'd you sell it?
I had partners. So, I'm a fifth partner in the business, and it was a great business, but they needed to get out. They were taking down some big deals in their other business. They needed liquidity. I mean, a whole host of reasons. And so I couldn't buy them out. It wasn't financeable at that time. Anyways, It was what it was. But I regret selling that business in many ways, just because I love that business. So I always like talking to people. I'm like, hey, do you like that you sold? Do you regret it? And it's kind of 50-50. Many times there's always an element of like, yeah, I kind of regret selling it because I miss the people, or I miss the business, or I miss the environment.
That's what my husband says. He misses the people and just being out there and having these challenging long days. There's a rewarding feeling to it. And I'm happy with where we are.
And I had like this whole planned out. We were going to talk about the top businesses that you saw this year and like characteristics of successful entrepreneurs. But I appreciate you indulging me following you down the rabbit hole, because this was an awesome conversation.
It's funny because I had expected to talk about also just ideas for other people who want to start businesses, and I've got plenty of them. So maybe that'll be another conversation.
May have to just bring you back on. I'm going to include it in the show notes, but your podcast, if people want to come listen to you.
It's called How I Built My Small Business, and I interview experts, entrepreneurs, about both their advice in their area of expertise, but also how they themselves navigated the growth of their businesses. And it's fun. It's a great place to learn.
All right. Hopefully you liked that episode. And if you've made it this far, you're either really committed or you're stuck doing yard work and you can't actually skip on your phone. So while I have you, the show is growing, but I have a favor to ask of you. Will you please help me grow the show? I want to reach more people. There's a couple things that you can do. Like and subscribe is the simplest thing. Obviously, you want to get notifications for when the next episode is coming out. But if you go the next step, will you leave me a review? 5-star on Spotify or Apple. What that does is it tells the algorithm that, oh, hey, this is a high value podcast because more people are leaving reviews for it, and it then pushes it out to more people. So that's why when people are like, will you like and subscribe and put a 5-star rating? It's not just to make themselves feel better. It's actually to get more exposure for the show. So if you do that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.